Good afternoon, everybody. Hope everyone's having a great day. And the ones that have tuned on a little earlier, hopefully you're able to enjoy that video that was made on our brand new Utah Bryson Zion bike tour with VBT that we started running as our second tour back. That was from 2 weeks ago. Pretty cool video, some nice music as well. We're going to go ahead and get started in just about another minute or so. Just wait for a few more participants to log on in. And we're going to take you through kind of our return to travel refresher on what we have going on with VBT and Country Walkers. So hopefully everyone can see my screen well and hear me okay. If you're having any trouble, you can certainly chat into the chat box. I'm going to go ahead and turn my video off on myself right now, just because it's runs a little bit better on Zoom without that. And we'll certainly have plenty of time for questions at the end of the presentation. And hopefully you'll really get excited about promoting our products to your clients. Wonderful. So we're going to go ahead and get going right now. And this is our return to travel webinar. It's been a while. We've been more or less off of the paths and roads for about 13, 14 months between the time we ceased operating our tours in March of 2020 and our return to travel on April 18th of this year. Certainly not an easy year for anyone involved. What was really great is the way that our company persevered through it, and we actually got back out there a lot earlier than we had anticipated doing at various points over the last year as we're analyzing things. My name is Glenn Letch. I'm the National Accounts Manager for both brands. Have a lot of experience in the travel industry as a travel agency owner, and I am privileged to have worked with this company now for 9 years. In fact, 9 years today. I was landing in Torino, Italy to start my first Country Walkers tour. In the course of my time with the company, I've had the chance to experience so many of our great tours, places around the world that personally I probably wouldn't have got to otherwise if I didn't work for the company. And just found that it's such a fun and unique way to experience travel and to really immerse yourself in the part of the world that you are going to with us. I'm always here to assist at any time. So whether it's a technical question, whether it's some further knowledge for you or your clients, sitting in, if I can help, sway them one way or the other to take a particular tour style, I am here to do so. And I'll provide my contact again at the end of the presentation. So as we put in our invite, we're going to have a refresher on both brands. We're going to have a little bit of a visual recap of our first tour. As I mentioned, that video is for our second tour back. And some 2022 updates. We have a couple little tweaks to our product, particularly for Country Walkers. Refresh on our COVID-19 actions. I can't wait to have that line be taken away from my presentations. Some resources for travel agents, and we're going to give away a prize for someone that is tuning in today. So as you can see on here, we are part of the Xanterra Travel Collection. Our well-known brands are listed at the bottom. All those listed are ones that pay commission. So good opportunities for not only our product, but them as well. We are a proud member of the United States Tour Operators Association, which is not an easy thing to get into. Carries this travel as assistance program, and actually spent my day yesterday involved with a series of great meetings with various tour operators, other entities from around the world, airlines, etc., on some short meetings for a USTA TOA sponsored event. So, about our company, as I mentioned, part of Xanterra Travel Collection. What's really nice is that we run our own business essentially with this great backing of Xanterra. Nothing has made me more of a rah-rah for that as what the last year has brought. We have great ownership. We have dedicated ownership. Our company is not going anywhere anytime soon. We've operated VBT for 50 years. We've operated Country Walkers for 42 years. Again, if the last year didn't take us out, nothing's taken us out. So we're looking forward to a great resurgence in travel, and we're already seeing some wonderful signs on the horizon. We have 133 active itineraries. So not necessarily destinations, because a lot of places we go different styles. We'll talk about that in just a few minutes a little further. We only do active travel, so we're not trying to reinvent ourselves on the fly here to just take whatever and keep people moving. We only do bike tours, we only do walking tours, and we do them in different styles. So we're not out trying to do all inclusives on the beach all of a sudden, or ocean liner cruises or whatever it may be. We have a great staff. I've worked, as I mentioned, about 9 years, a little over 9 years, on the Country Walkers brand. And the brands came together in 2014. So VBT and Country Walkers both came together under the Xanterra ownership. And I'm proud to say that we have people that have been here a lot longer than I have, and they're involved in tour design. They're involved in the upper level management of our company, and it just creates some great longevity that creates wonderful tour experiences for your clients. So who goes on our tour? Sometimes people associate our type of tour with, you got to be the super athlete. Let's go hang out at the gym and make sure that we get everyone coming out of the class. Or let's stand on the corner on Saturday and make sure we get that whole pack of expert riders that come by, top to bottom in their biking gear. It's not. You just need to be active to really fully enjoy our tours. There are ways that even people that aren't overly active could go on our tours and still participate, but it may not be the most ideal choice for them. We do have a 50 plus demographic. So with the advent of electronic or e-bikes, our VBT age average keeps going up. It's up to 62 now on average. So it means we're getting people riding with us a lot longer than they would have in the past. It also means that our bottom age is going up a little bit as well, as people, start heading towards maybe some retirement or easing back on their schedule or empty nests or whatever it may be. All of our guests, I would say, are very adventurous. These are not normal, typical, run-of-the-mill type of experiences. You are doing things that aren't, sitting on a motor coach with 44 other people, going to line up with 1,000 other people to do things. It's a very small experience, small group, small number of people experience. And with that, we're able to get into places that those big guys can't get into with their buses or larger groups. We do a lot of solo travel, so about 35% of our Country Walkers guests are solo travelers. They like that we take care of them quite well. They like the fact that everything's put together for them, and they do tend to blend right in with some great camaraderie with the rest of the group. For biking, it's about 25%. And both of those numbers I've seen a tremendous growth in over the last, particularly about 5 years, I think, as solo travel has become more of a prevalent type of way to go. Our tours definitely do a great job of catering to those. And of course, we like to have people that are very open-minded and eager to learn. Um, so no matter what brand you choose for your clients, Country Walkers or VBT, they're going to have some key components. On our guided tours, expert, exceptional local guides. So they're where your clients will travel to in the world. Our guides are there. For accommodations, we focus in on boutique style, some real family owned, very localized to where we want to walk or ride. We don't like spending a lot of time riding hours upon hours in our vehicles to get out and walk. We'd rather be in lodging that's very close to the walking and biking experience. We do some very classic destinations. So even some of the more traditional places that you go, say in Italy, we go maybe use those cities to get into, and then we're off the beaten path and seeing things from kind of a countryside perspective. So really great variety of destinations. We rate all of our tours. They're rated anything from just flat out easy to challenging. For biking, most of them fit into easy to moderate. For walking, we do run the gambit, anything from easy up to challenging. Most of what we do is fit in an easy to moderate. We want to keep this to a very broad, if we recall, not a super athlete group, but someone that make them manageable, make them enjoyable because they are vacations after all. We do include some wonderful meals on all of our tours, always capturing the local ingredients. We do have air packages available for any of our international tours. So anything that doesn't operate in the United States, we have a package we'll talk about. And top of everyone's wording and mind and everything you read is enhanced safety. Well, you don't get 50 years old without being pretty safe and running your company in a very safe and efficient manner. We'll talk a little bit about in our COVID actions, some of the things that we have going on, keeping in mind that what I might say right this minute may be updated in another hour to something slightly different. So for VBT bicycling, as a refresher, we have 3 different styles. If you haven't tuned into us for a while, you probably would know that we built our company, and what we do most of is guided biking. So these are small group experiences. 20 people is the max on our tours. There are a couple of departures that may grow to 22. They're going to have, again, everything included that we'll cover on the next slide. We then take the same concept. We take our group, traditional land group bike experience, and we use the accommodation of a vessel. So we do a bike and river cruise with Emerald Cruises. I keep wanting to call them waterways, but they just change their name. And then we do our barges, and we have a new offering, which is a bike and small ship in Croatia. So with those, the only thing that really varies between that and a traditional VBT guided bike tour is that instead of moving several times accommodations during the week, you're going on that vessel and you're going to basically be on the boat for the entire week, and you'll pull to port, and there's our support vehicle, our bikes, everything to go off and do what would normally be, if you didn't see the boat, you'd think you're on a regular VBT land departure. Our new tour style we introduced in 2020, great year to introduce anything, but we did get it out of the gate, so to speak, and that's our self-guided biking. And we'll talk about that because it's got a lot of few nuances, I should say. A lot of it's the same type of experience, but there's a few things to note if you're sending someone on a self-guided bike tour. So where we go normally is everywhere in green. You can see we have a wide range of coverage. We go a lot here in the United States, Canada, Europe, a lot top to bottom, side to side, a lot within Italy. Great destinations to go to. I've been watching a lot of trainings. Every Friday we train on new tours and even refresh on some of our tours we've had. And we started, the good sign is we've started to go back and get presentations on Europe. And boy, seeing the pictures and the routes and the buildings and everything that goes with it has been incredible. We can't wait to get back to Europe, and we should be there, hopefully this fall. We do have some more exotic places. We call them our warm winter exotics. So we go Vietnam, and we go as far away as New Zealand and South Africa. So pretty good coverage. What's probably more on your mind right now is what can we get our clients on today or this year, and obviously domestic is your best opportunity. So we have kind of a perimeter, we call it, of the United States with some various offerings. These are the guided, and then we've added 4 new guided tours that we developed rather midstream through last year, when we realized that, hey, international may not come back as quick as we hoped it would. So let's get some more offerings. The video I was showing was Utah, wonderful tour. We've now launched 2 departures of that so far this spring, and everything else will start kicking up over the next month or so. And then we've offered added some additional self-guided tours in Maine, in California wine country, and up in Vermont. And if we look at a map of our USA biking and how it lays out, everywhere in green is where we've had tours, and then the red are the new offerings that we have developed during the year. So we have a pretty good coverage, and the way that we did this was to have a fairly reasonable regional approach. So if someone needed to drive to a tour, they have tours within a reasonable amount of distance if they weren't comfortable flying, which a lot of people, still aren't. And we wanted to make sure that we had offerings, spread out pretty well to do so. So your inclusions on guided, you're going to have local leaders. I mentioned before, we do this really as we've always done with those local leaders. We do have some competitors that don't do that, that bring in guides from other areas. So we really think this is a big highlight. I refer to as the cousin Gino experience. You're walking or riding your bike down the path in Italy, and you stop, or you may be on a break, and the leader sees his cousin Gino, and next thing you know, you're getting this great local conversation, banter going on, and you really learn a lot that isn't obviously in the itinerary. So it's really nice to have these local leaders. They become friends typically to the group, and not only for the week but beyond that as well. We provide great VBT equipment. We primarily use Fuji bikes. We'll show you what kinds of bikes we use on that, but you'll also get helmets, bag to use. Really, a guest just shows up with the clothing they want to wear for biking, and we provide a packing list for that. Everything else is provided and handled by the leaders for them. Great lodging. I mentioned some real boutique style lodging. We include meals about half of the lunches and dinners as a group, and breakfast will always be included. Any hotel night with us, the guests will get breakfast included, and usually 99% of the time that's right at the hotel. Now, it's not just riding a bike, because we're going to use the bike as a way to get to these great cultural experiences, other experiences like food and museums, and could be even some scenic beauty. We incorporate these type of experience and activities on each and every day, and typically each and every ride. So we're not just getting on a bike and going start to finish 25 miles, 35 miles a day, and that's it. We're done. We're riding 10, 15 miles, then we're stopping. And again, I've had anything from going into people's homes as a smaller group, 4 of us, and sitting and having some coffee and scones, to, again, full on cooking class, as you see in the image here. So a lot of great inclusions. Obviously, any experience that's in the itinerary is part of the tour price. If there are any optional activities, which are very few and rare, those are all handled locally. And like I said, we do enough that there's a good amount of activities that are going to be included as part of the tour and the tour cost. Now, a biggie for people that aren't used to riding a bike, like myself, every day of their life. I live in Florida, great place to bike, but I like to walk a little bit more. But I do like when I get on our tours, they're enjoyable. But I may not want to ride every last mile. I may not want to do the 25 to 35 mile average that we have on most of our tours per day. So we have a support vehicle that's always going to be available on the route that the guests are riding. The guests are riding at their own pace, so there's not a problem with trying to keep up with the person in front of you or other people. One of our leaders will always be riding with the group, and then the other leader will be in the vehicle. Someone's uncomfortable riding, they just don't want to do it, they only want to do X amount for the day, they can load up themselves and their bike and on they go to the next stop on the day's itinerary. So pretty nice way to rely. We have obviously typically with couples, but sometimes friends, where there's just a distinct difference in the level of riding, and they can coexist a lot better knowing that that vehicle is available if one of them isn't really feeling it, each and every day and every ride. So really nice feature to have. And there's no shame in it. Some people call it the sag wagon. I like to call it support vehicle. And I've been on tours where in some rides or some portions of the day, I look and there seems to be more people in the van than on the route. It just happens sometimes. I mentioned our great bikes. We have some really nice equipment. When our office is open, which it's currently everyone's remote up in Vermont, I can't wait to get back up there myself. We have these bikes all over the place up there, so I really get to see them up close and personal. We have our standard hybrid bike. This is what I would use on a tour. It's pedal power, and you nice, comfortable fit, upright, handlebars, etc. We have for the more avid cyclists on most tours, we offer a road bike option. This is the Fuji Grand Fondo, which is, I could lift that with one finger and move it around. It's so light. And then our ever popular, and what you'll find about 40% and probably more coming, more higher percentage coming, are electronic assist bikes. Now, when we do take your client tour booking, we're going to ask what type of bike would they like. We're also going to ask for their height. So we want to make sure we have the proper frame fit for them. And when they get on tour, there's their bike and it's fit to their liking. And then the leaders will make the local adjustments. So for me, for instance, I'm 6 feet tall. I get in there, it's adjusted for a 6 foot tall person. But once they watch me ride on my warm up ride, they make a few tweaks and, change this and move this around. And they have different seats and everything that they can make you real comfortable. So e-bikes are really popular because you still pedal. So you're still getting a nice bicycle experience. You're getting a bit of a workout, but when it feels resistance, it's going to engage very quiet electric motor. And the electric motor lets you keep the same cadence, but now you're going up steep hills. You're riding faster than maybe you would on a typical standard hybrid bike. Um, when it senses that you're tired, it feels that resistance. So it's going to help you get through that tiredness part of your ride. And you just keep pedaling the same way. And now you're accomplishing all the miles on the ride. Extremely popular, growing all the time. It does introduce a lot of people to the tours. So people that are really super excited, maybe they've been stuck at home and started riding their bike again, and but maybe a little squeamish about taking a vacation and riding a bike, or particularly if they're going international. It's a great way to put their mind at ease that this will make that tour so much more enjoyable for them to ride, on a regular daily basis. It's equalized the abilities, so the different abilities that I mentioned, where people can now ride together without a struggle, and it's extended the career. That's why our average age has gone from 56 to 62 over the last few years as e-bikes become more and more prevalent and popular. If your clients are thinking about an e-bike, so if they're talking the type of language that I'm mentioning, concerns, they mention it, they see that it's available, get them an e-bike. One thing we don't let you do is flip and change, on a regular basis while you're on tour. So you kind of commit to an e-bike. They will not be coming back to you say, boy, I wish I had not got an e-bike. They're going to say, we loved it, and on our next tour, make sure there's the e-bike available for us. We do limit the availability on some tours on e-bikes. We are finding more and more ways to get as many e-bikes as we can going. They're a bit heavier. They're a little bit more of a challenge to move around, to keep charged and so forth. So it can vary by tour, but always if your client wants an e-bike, the first question you can ask our tour consultant is one an e-bike spot available on the tour? There's no extra cost for e-bikes, so there's to have a pun, there's no charge extra for them, and they are just simply a great way to go. The other way that we like to use technology is we do a ride with GPS. So this uses the client's cell phone, no data. In fact, we have it shut off. We have them shut it off, and it just uses the GPS functionality. We provide the mounts of all different size phones on the handlebars, and instead of fumbling through paperwork, it's taking and recording and letting you know, just like your car GPS would do, take a left, take a right. So eyes on the road, eyes looking at the beautiful scenery. And at the end, you can take and share that ride with on social media. You can send it to your friends or family. Hey, this is what I'm up to. I refer to that as the nosy adult children experiment, because my kids always want to know what I'm up to, and it's a great way to just say, hey, when I'm on tour, this is what I did today, and send them, share it. And then you also have a running copy of all the rides that you've done for really eternity with us, because it will save them forever on Ride with GPS. So when we get to the end of our week and we look at all these great things as part of our tour, great elements, you can see lodging, camaraderie, excellent food, some technology, beautiful scenery, and that's what we get with VBT. Now, I mentioned we relaunched in South Carolina April 18th, which was, again, quite a feat to do so. We There's a lot to it. It's not just as simple as saying, let's go. In fact, on this tour, usually goes to Savannah, Georgia, but because Georgia's count positivity rate was too high as we were finalizing this tour, we decided to keep Savannah out of it for the spring, and we instead brought the guests to Hilton Head, South Carolina, for 2 nights at the end. So you'd think in normal times we'd say we're changing the tour and we're going to take and now you're not going to Savannah, which is a pretty big highlight. Uh, you'd say, well, just cancel me. I'm not going. Give me something else, whatever it may be. We had full participation in a waiting list. Guests are so anxious to get back out on tour that they will roll with the punches that need to happen right now to do so. So we're really happy. The president of our company for both brands was on this tour, riding right alongside the guests, making sure that everything was as good as it can be for not operating in really 13 months at that point. So you can see the great van, our smiling VBT leaders, some really nice equipment. They're using the Grand Fondos, which are super bikes. You can see our president did the e-bike, so he's got one of our new fit e-bikes, a little sleeker than the one even in the picture. Um, Great culture, food, smiling guests. Now you can see they have face masks, and we do have requirements for when they're in the vehicles that they wear them. As you can imagine, like a lot of places these days, and as vaccinations increase and cases come down, it's a bit of a challenge keeping everyone apple pie order at all times. And and just for reference, everybody on this tour happened to show up and they're vaccinated, so there's no issues. We had back to our wonderful cultural visits by local entertainers and storytellers. And again, if we were taking away the mask from these pictures, we say, wow, that looks like a pretty normal experience. Are we back to normal? And I would say we're about as close to normal as we can get right now. And we just think that's going to keep getting better and better as tours keep going, and again as numbers change for the good. I mentioned self-guided. It's a little bit different animal. A lot of the great same components. We'll provide the equipment, but the guests will have to do a few of the things that a leader would typically do. So, repair a tire, put a chain back on, some minor repairs. We provide a toolkit and we provide an orientation when they first arrive on tour to make sure they're comfortable. If they're taking an e-bike, we'll teach them how to charge the e-bikes and maintain the charge and maximize the charge, because they will not have leaders as it is self-guided. They'll have lodging all part of the tour, all the movement of their luggage and themselves between the lodging will be included. A lot of those times they'll just ride to the next lodging and their luggage will be there for them. They'll get a custom VBT road book, and again, that ride with GPS technology. What is nice about the self-guided biking is we do have set dates, so it's a little different than our self-guided walking that is done on a request. With VBT self-guided biking, we actually have set dates, so similar to our guided product, the guest would pick a date, that's when that tour is offered, and the only difference is they're not going with a group of people, they're going with just their traveling party. So nice new offering. We started with 5 tours in 2025 destinations, and we're up to 13 for 2021. So really happy to get that product going. Um, and we think it's going to do well, and it's already got some nice bookings because it's great for people that want to go on these type of tours but aren't as comfortable going in a group of with people they don't know right now. So essentially the little traveling bubble, it's kind of a nice option for them. So on to country walkers. I'm going to show you a couple of different slides and a little update. So in 2021, we have 3 different styles. We have our traditional, what we've done since 1979, our guided full. That's fairly inclusive. It's going to pretty much include everything except one dinner, maybe a dinner and a lunch, but typically just one meal that isn't done as a group. Premium wines throughout dinner, really top to bottom itinerary each and every day of the tour week, expert guides, etc. We have our new style, which is guided flex. So that is a lot of the great same components that are wonderful, but you are going to have at least a couple of opportunities during the tour week to have some free time to do what the guests would like to do independently from the group. Typically, it's done in a matter of hours a couple of times, so maybe an afternoon or a morning or both incorporated throughout the tour week. It's also going to be more in the line of the VBT meal inclusions where you'd get breakfast and then roughly half of the lunches and dinners as a group. Our third style is self-guided, which is quite similar to our self-guided biking product, although the walking has been around for 8 years now. And there are a few little nuances, which we'll talk about in a couple of slides. Now for 2022, we are actually going to kind of combine the guided full and the guided flex, and I like to refer to as kind of a super flex, because what we've found, and a lot of other tour operators, I've sat in on a lot of different meetings and convention online conferences with tour operators lately, is guests are asking for a bit of flexibility, not only for the travel plans, dates and whatever, but also for what they're doing on tour operator products. They don't necessarily want to be locked in each and every day, every moment of the day doing the itinerary. So what we've done is we're going to dial back a little bit from the guided full, meaning open up some more free time. But we're also from the flex, we're going to add in, a few more meals and some other experiences and other enhancements as well. So for 2022, and this hasn't even gone out yet because our new catalogs aren't out, we will have just 2 styles, guided and self-guided. I'm personally looking forward to it because it was a lot of talking to explain flex and full and so forth. So I think this will be a nice way to carry this brand forward. And I'll show you some images of what my last tour I did, which was a flex, and it's pretty much what that's going to be modeled off of. Our map for country walkers very similar to VBT, everywhere in green. You'll see some African destinations. We do offer some safaris as well. And those aren't necessarily walking tours, they're traditional safaris. We just find the safari guest is quite similar um, to our walking guests, so why have them go elsewhere? We developed safaris about maybe 6 years ago, and they do quite well. So domestically, we have, again, good offerings at various points around the United States. I will say that all of these tours we've operated for a long time. Everyone on that list, with the exception of Georgia, has been in our roster since I've been with the company, so at least 9 years. Georgia's been in about 4 years, and then we added a new self-guided in Maine, and we're happy to say our first departure for that is coming up next week. Now, currently for country walkers, we're looking at getting tours domestically. So our Yellowstones are going to be out within the next month. We'll be launching those, so around early June, relaunching, I should say. And we have plans for our first international tour, which is Iceland in July. So we are looking forward to getting back internationally as well. But for now, domestic obviously is going to be the first ones out of the chute. So you can see a map of where we go. Now, I wanted to put in this real quick just to remind you there's some resources to finding the right tour. Um, Always when I get questions, it's what's the mileage? How many miles a day? It isn't always miles. You can see these ranges. You know, you could be 4 miles on a moderate or 4 miles on an easy. So there's a lot more to it. There's what surface am I walking on? What's the elevation gain or loss? I live in Florida. I'm from Boston, but I'm a Floridian for 15 years. I get to elevation, I feel it. So that could be a concern for me. Or maybe there is some sort of a health issue that is of concerning. That that would be the case. Now, beyond these ratings, which this is a capture right out of our catalog, it's available online as well. If you have any specific needs or questions, maybe a guest has some vertigo issues or something that is not generally listed in these charts, our expert tour consultants will gladly walk through any questions that you have um, with with your clients. So really to dial in, one thing that's really nice about all the staff you talk to is they've all been on tour, so they've got experience taking our tours. And our inclusions are quite similar to our bike tours in that you have the great local guides, you have excellent walks. Most of them are 5 to 7 miles per day, always broken into segments because we're doing those off the path activities. So cooking classes, cultural stops, museum visits, you name it. I could sit here for 10 minutes listing everything I've done on my Country Walkers tours. Excellent lodging, and of course, always capturing that local dining flair of the area that we're traveling to. So I mentioned I did my last tour, which is crazy that it's 2019, but it was July of 2019. I did our guided flex in Ireland. And at the time, this was actually labeled under a VBT brand because we did have some walking tours that existed under there, but we moved them to Country Walkers. So it's the same tour. Just great. So one thing we don't do on walking is there isn't a support vehicle that's riding along the path with you. In this case, we had a jaunting cart because it was a road that we were walking on, the Gap of Dunlow. It's a fairly long walk, and we know that guests maybe want to take a little break. But most of our walks are done in segments of about 2 to 3 miles at a time, always with breaks and other stops, and times that you just stop and want to listen to what the expert guides are telling you on tour. Great picnic. We had a small group, but a really happy group. The group loved their beer. I will say that it was a beer group, um, and you run into interesting characters. So we had, in this case, this gentleman came on to speak to us before dinner at the hotel out in Killarney one night, and then the next day we visited his family farm that he was transitioning to his eldest son, an Irish tradition, and um, he invited us in for some scones and moonshine, some Irish whiskey that they made. And this gentleman over here with the Nikon strap leaned into me and he said, "This is why we travel with you. We would never find these type of experiences on our own. If we would, they'd be some, regular touristy, hokey type of experience. This was so authentic." So just wanted to share some images. Every time I share those, I reminds me of how anxious I am to get back out on our tour. I mentioned our self-guided product. Very similar to the self-guided biking in that it is independent. There's not going to be guides, but there'll be background support available. Lodging, of course, custom route notebook, transfers of luggage and people where needed, and then some meals, always breakfast and fewer included meals than you'd find on guided, but that's the nature of the beast. We want people to be uh, fairly independent when they're on a self-guided tour. Now, the big difference with self-guided walking is we offer these on a um, request basis. So we do it over a wide range of dates, but you do request it, and that turnaround can take anywhere from 1 to 5 days. And depending on the area and the time you're booking it and so forth, we'll turn it around. But when they do travel, it's again just their traveling party. If someone has good flexibility and they call you, provide us all that flexibility because they'll make sure that everything, just confirms a lot faster. And if one date isn't available, we bounce right on to the next. So our international air packages, I just want to mention this one real quick. You're going to get international flights, great well-known carriers, major cities, but also just about any minor city, unless it's just a real municipal airport that doesn't have traditional carriers to it. You're going to get transfers on each side of that flight. You're going to get a hotel night on each side of the tour. So pre and a post hotel night. The tour leaders or guides, depending on the product, will then meet the guests in the lobby of the hotel after breakfast that's included, and off you go on the tour, the land part of the tour. Or if it's a waterways to the ship, and off you go on your vessel for your tour that way. We also have opportunities for extensions on these, so you can extend 2 nights on either end. Typically, some have longer extensions, some a little shorter, but really when you put this all together, you could do an end-to-end trip, say, to Europe, and you're going to have a 14-day package for your client. What's super nice is you get our air package and you compare it to the land only. We're offering these full packages with extra nights for a lot, even less than you'd pay for an airline ticket. The other great thing about our air packages is two things. One is we have an in-house air department, very experienced staff that manages the air. Two is you only need to pay the client deposit. You don't have to pay upfront for the air. And with things so volatile right now, and possibly changing, and even though the airlines are kinder and gentler right now, they're still involved in a credit situation and all that. If you had to change your plans with us, you could book them, add the air package, and you don't have to worry about paying for that until final payment. So if something changes, they end up changing dates or tours, they have that flexibility. Um, COVID actions, I mentioned April 18th, we're back. We obviously have new tour safety protocols. We're always putting those up to date on our website. So either website at top. Now, I do suggest most of it covers both brands, but there may be brand specific info. So I do suggest if you want the latest, go to that particular brand's website, and you'll see that. You can also find them on our travel agent pages, which are linked on the website as well. I wanted to point out our owner is Philip Anschutz, and he funds the University of Denver Medical Center. So we on our staff, not only for us, but all the other brands with Xanterra, have some really expert advice medically coming. So that's what's helped us get back out there sooner than we thought. We've the sound advice that we're not experts in medical care and what's going on. We're experts in providing great tours and good hospitality. So it was really nice to have involvement from the team out in Denver. We have relaxed our booking policies for 2021 bookings, so pretty flexible up to final payment time. For 2022, there'll still be some flexibility, but the refund part of it will go away. So getting your deposit back won't happen, but the flexibility of being able to change tours, destinations will remain. So that's kind of a nice positive looking ahead for 2022. Now, keep in mind that could change differently. It's never going to change worse. If something changes and we feel the need to adjust that to more of the 2021 guidelines, we will do so. We have a whole team that's just focused on nothing but the pandemic recovery. We do have some digital assets as well. We know everybody's not necessarily in front of their clients right now. So we have digital versions of the catalog. You can order those as you're ordering regular catalogs. You just go and it will send you the link and you can share that with your clients. And I mentioned one at the bottom there was anytime a guest travels with us, we provide free 24/7 support. So if something happens on their way to the tour, during the tour, on the way back from the tour, they have one number they call and it springs our team into action. So you don't have to worry about that. Commission. You can make a lot of money selling our tours. Our average commission payout, just recalculated this because obviously 2020 didn't really amount to much, but 2021 so far, looking at our recent booking trends, $725 per booking. Not unusual for me to see commissions of $2,000 for some of our products, some of our bookings. We do offer a base of 10% commission. We do have the opportunity to join a tour. We've just changed this. It's 25% off now for the agent. And for the companion, we will offer 20% normally. But for joining this webinar, if you wanted to bring a companion, we can do the 25%. Now, if your travel company, the company you work for, does a fair amount of business with us or really wants to turn into a super promoter, contact me because we might be able to get you on a nice preferred commission structure as well, which would up that commission on the from 10% up on up. So definitely always welcome the opportunity to work with your organizations and more broad base. We do have some, as we turn the corner here, our 2022 products for country walkers that are pretty available and ready to book. Few lagging tours, but for the most part, they're available. For VBT, we're doing a lot of pre-reserves now. So pre-reserves will grab the spot, but it won't necessarily have the pricing and everything finalized yet. We anticipate VBT will be ready no later than the beginning of July, but more than likely at the beginning of June. We do have some current promotions. If you had past guests with us, they have their frequent traveler credits that they can apply to bookings. We have Country Walker's early booking discount for past guests. They can save an additional 5% if they're reserved by December 15th. Then for anybody, whether you're a past guest or not, we have the VBT Goodbye discount for 2022. So got a pretty good window on that, October 28th, and then they just have to pay in full by November 11th. And they'll save 5% off the tour, and it does have a few exclusions, but pretty good promotion. Typically, obviously a lot of people wait in normal times till October, but I think there's such an anxious crowd out there that wants to go and wants to travel next year and lock up their space. It's a good opportunity to grab the space while it's available, and also save the client some money and take advantage of some credits if they travel with us in the past. Mention our resources. We have travel agent web pages. Don't need any special login at this point to get into those. Either website will have the same content, just skinned a little different because the websites are a little different. We have a guide available on the website. You can download it. It's a PDF and just keep it handy with some key info on how to work with us and our clientele. How to work with us. I do recommend, if you haven't worked with us before, that you call in, talk to our experts, make sure we got everything set up the right way. Beyond that, you can establish your online account if you want to make payments that way, or make future bookings, or whatever you're most comfortable with. We do have online, but most agents do opt to call in because it's just an overall more complete experience for you. And I want to thank you for joining today. I see we have a few questions. Let's see. I'm going to answer a few that are in here. From Pam, the road bikes are disc brakes. Do we require guests to be vaccinated? We do not require guests to be vaccinated. However, if a guest is vaccinated, they don't have to do the required test to join the tour. Now, we know that some destinations like Iceland are only opening up to vaccinated travelers. So in that case, that would be a requirement because it's what the country is requiring for people to join. Country Walkers does not use support vehicles like VBT does. There is vans and mini coaches that accompany the group. So if someone's having an issue or a problem, typically the most immediate thing is to, go with the driver in the vehicle and relax that way. But no, they're not up riding alongside of you, because we're going into some pretty, remote paths on our walks. Helen, 5% commission seems awful low. It should be at least 10%. If you want to reach out to me after, we can look that over and see what's going on. I'll be able to pull that up. But we have not offered a 5% commission in my 9 years. So we'll look at that. Now, any other questions that I can answer? You can unmute if you want to just ask that way. All right. So we're going to do a prize, and the prize is going to be a swag bag with some VBT swag as well as an Amazon gift card. And we're going to go down to number 7 on my list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Joan Storm. You are the winner. So Joan, I will be in touch with you to get your address, and I'll mail that out to you by FedEx, and you will be the lucky winner of the VBT swag bag with some Amazon gift card stuffed into it. And if there's no other questions, I want to again thank you very much for tuning in today. It's been my pleasure to present. We're super excited to get back going, and anytime that I can help you with your clients, with your knowledge, you want to join a tour, you want some advice on where to go, gletch at vbt.com. As you can tell, I love the product and I love talking about it, and I'd be happy to assist you any way I can. Thank you very much.